Hello, everyone. On behalf of my co-authors, Dr. Ahmed, Julie Ghostlaw, Purnima Menon, Aklima Parvin, Audrey Pereira, Agnes Quisumbing, Shalini Roy, and Masuma Yunus, I'm pleased to present our work on the effectiveness of combinations of trainings to improve agricultural production, dietary diversity, and women's empowerment in Bangladesh, the Agriculture, Nutrition, and Gender Linkages Project, or ANGEL. As participants in this virtual conference are aware, there exist large literatures that assess interventions seeking to increase diet diversity through diversification of food production, to improve infant and young child nutrition, IYCN, through behavior change communication, and interventions that aim to increase women's agency and empowerment. To the best of our knowledge, however, there is less evidence of synergistic effects on these outcomes of interventions that combine efforts to diversify food production, provide nutrition BCC, and increase empowerment. And with funding from USAID, our work seeks to fill this knowledge gap. Working in rural Bangladesh, we designed a cluster randomized control trial in which both husbands and wives participated in the following treatment arms: TN1, Nutrition Behavior Change Communication; TN2, another Nutrition BCC; TA, Agricultural Production Training; TAN, Agricultural Production Training and Nutrition BCC; TANG, Agricultural Production Training, Nutrition BCC, and Gender Sensitization, and also a control group. Most of these treatment arms, specifically TN1, TA, and TAN, were implemented by government agricultural extension agents. And of course, that includes one of the nutrition arms that solely provided nutrition behavior change communication. These extension agents also were responsible for the agriculture and nutrition BCC components of TANG. By contrast, TN2 was implemented by an NGO, as was the gender sensitization component of TANG. ANGEL was implemented in localities which were agroecologically suitable for crop diversification and had good market connectivity. Each treatment arm was implemented in 25 localities. The control group had 35 localities with 25 farming households in each. And each household, at baseline, had one child under the age of 2. We have considerable evidence and data that indicates that implementation fidelity was high. There were 2 rounds of data collection, a baseline collected before the intervention began in 2015 and 2016, and an end line just after the intervention ended in 2018. Attrition was low, 2.6% over the lifetime of the 2 years of the study, and random. And the impacts were estimated using ANCOVA and, in some cases, single difference models. Well, what do we find? To give you a taste of what we find, first of all, we find that the treatment arms that included some form of training around agricultural production increased the number of crops grown in homestead gardens. You can see the baseline control grew 13.6 crops in these gardens, and these increased by approximately 0.3 to 0.4 in the arms which received the agricultural training. A number of treatment arms improve household dietary quality as measured by the food consumption score, most notably TAN, TANG, and also, interestingly, TN2, which only provided nutrition training. It's also worth noting the baseline, or the control group, had a relatively high FCS. So these changes are on the order of about a 5 to 6% increase within a population where FCS, or dietary quality, was already relatively high. Certain treatment arms within ANGEL also improved child dietary diversity, particularly in TN2 and also TAN, increasing it by approximately a quarter of a food group. It's worth mentioning that all treatment arms significantly increased agricultural production knowledge and practices, but magnitudes were larger from arms that included agricultural training and knowledge impacts were larger for women than men. Nutrition knowledge significantly improved in all treatment arms, but again the arm magnitudes were larger from arms that included nutrition training, that is everything except TA, and impacts again were larger for women than men. And finally, all treatment arms had significant and positive impacts on the likelihood of the woman being empowered relative to the control group, where empowerment is measured by the pro-WIA measure. The largest point impact was found in the gender sensitization arm, that is TANG, but interestingly, impacts of the other treatment arms on women were not significantly different from each other. To summarize, Angel successfully engaged both men and women in activities that are associated with diversification of agricultural production, with more varied diets, and increased women's empowerment. Interestingly, while treatment arms with multiple interventions tended to have larger impacts, the differences across these treatment arms were generally not statistically significant. Thank you for listening.